welcome. I'm Keegan. Thanks for tuning in. And today, this is my first video on the Rec Tec 700. I stumbled upon this smoker when I was experimenting with the Weber Smokefire, and so many people recommended it. I had to check it out. So this is their top of the line, larger smoker that doesn't get as big as a truck in your backyard. They have bigger ones, but this is kind of their top of the line flagship, say that again, flagship smoker. So had to check it out, and just want to give you my first impressions of it. And so far so good. I've really enjoyed it. But let's get into some of the details, some things I love about it, and some things that I still need to find out as I experiment with it. And if you want to know more about the Rec Tec 700 and all these different cuts of meat and how they do on it, be sure to subscribe, because my next videos are going to be talking about ribs, pulled pork, brisket. Does it get it done in those long smokes? Does it develop the bark? So far I've just kind of played around with a few things, and we'll get into that. But sure, first thing, I just wanted to show off what I think is great about the smoker and some things that we still have questions on. So let's check it out. Okay, so the first thing I love about the smoker is the design itself. Before we even get into the guts and how it works, it's a good looking smoker. It's got the bull horns on the front, makes it look kind of badass, and the details are nice. It's got the nice badge on the front, some nice stainless steel worked in, classic black and silver from the stainless steel. And then also they thought about the design of this a lot. You can tell in the details. One detail I can really appreciate is the back of the smoker here. You can see how the pellet hopper goes with the contour of the grill hood. So it maximizes the amount of pellets you can fit in here, which is a lot. And it also hides it nicely. So we got 40 pounds capacity. So this will run well over a day in normal conditions if you're smoking. And once again, it's just a very sleek look. So it just hides all the pellets. You don't see them really. You don't have the big pellet hopper sitting to the left, kind of looking a little janky in my opinion. That's what really made me think this was the right grill for me, because on the patio, it looks great. Now, the other thing you notice on this grill when you get it is how hefty it is. You can put it together by yourself. There's a nice video on Rec Tec that the guys did, and you follow their directions and it works out great. It is heavy. I kind of pulled a muscle in my back when I put it together, lifting it up, so I'd recommend having help with that. But it's very hefty. The lid's very, very solid. Everything feels very strong about this grill. And then as we go into the inside, the light is a really cool option. When you're out here smoking at night like all of us do, I think that's a great option to have. That's standard on the smoker. And then the grill grates are stainless steel and they're thick. So you can see how thick they are compared to my finger. And just very sturdy. They do slide around a little bit, but it's not real noticeable. You can kind of see they can move on you. If you're grilling, maybe that's an issue. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine. I wish they made those a little tighter, but it is what it is. And then the chimney stack, also very strong. It's when you pick up this chimney stack, it's like 10 pounds or so. Like everything about this is really hefty. And then the bolts they supply are no joke. We can see that. So everything about the construction, if anything, they overdid it, which I commend them for. So the overall build quality, from what I could tell, is tremendous. Okay, so my favorite thing so far about this grill is the controller. It's super easy to use. You can just turn it on, set point in 5-degree increments. It shows the actual temperature as well, and then has a strong Wi-Fi receiver for your Wi-Fi signal, and then 2 probes as well for your 2 cuts of meat. So that setup's great. And then they didn't really ignore any details. So I love the fact that it has the little opening there for your probes, and then you can just shut it off. We'll go ahead and shut this down for now so I can talk. But overall, it's worked flawlessly for a day. I have no complaints about it whatsoever. I love it. It even has a calibration for the temperature. So if you if you have your probe set up in the center here and it's reading 250, but down here your set point is at 225 and the grill is showing at 225, you can calibrate it so it's controlling your temperature zone that you want, or to your trusted probe. So if you use a ThermoWorks probe and it's reading 10 degrees off, you can calibrate it down to the gnat's ass, which I absolutely love. So that's probably my most favorite thing about this grill so far is the controller. Okay, I thought it'd be worth it just taking a peek at the internals. The grill grates come out in 2 pieces, and then the drip pan is 1 solid stainless steel piece. So just carefully work that out of here. It covers pretty much the whole thing. It's very heavy. So all these parts should last a long time being stainless steel. And then the heat shield for the burn pot is pretty big. It's not small, and it's also very, very solid. So all these internal parts feel like they'll last a long time and live up to that 6-year warranty that this has. All right, so let's take a look at the inside to see what it looks like after about 12 hours of use. Okay, so this is the interior of the grill. You can see it's got some pellet buildup. The heat shield does do a good job of keeping all the pellet remnants down on the bottom, and it's very large, so I'd recommend, I mean, you think you'd probably want to clean this out every maybe 24 to 48 hours of use, just looking at it. And then just want to show you where the temperature is being measured. So it's measured on the left end of the grill. And I did find there's some temperature difference from the left to the right, but not a lot. Like 10 degrees is kind of what I was getting, sometimes less than that. So I think that's acceptable. And then it's really dialed in after it gets going. It takes a long time to heat up, but once it does, it's pretty rock solid. Okay, so obviously I'm pretty impressed with the build quality. You know, I haven't had it for years and years, but just it feels very solid. There's a ton of stainless steel. I just can't see this thing falling apart anytime soon. And their warranty is pretty fantastic. I think it's 6 years. It's ridiculous. So love it. Let's talk about performance so far. Once again, I love the fact that you can dial in the temperature. I don't think that's something that most pellet grills have. I haven't checked all the brands out there, but the fact that you can calibrate it to your own temperature probe is pretty amazing. I didn't know that when I purchased it. I found that out after looking at some more videos after getting the grill and playing with it. And it was initially off by like 10%. So I adjusted it, and it has been flawless since. I love it. And as far as actually cooking food, so far I've tested some short-term cooks. As far as I've done some smoked brats, which are always easy to do, and to me just a good test to see how much smoke you're getting on the meat, and just overall flavor when it's done for a quick cook. And those turned out really nice. I think, you know, ideally I would have had a little more smoke flavor, so to me that concerns me a little bit going forward. I'm gonna have to do some more testing on some long-term cooks, such as pork shoulders and briskets and ribs and things of that nature. So tune in, subscribe, and I'll be doing more of that with this grill for the next month or so. I'll be trying to release a new video every week or so on a different cut of meat. And I also did chicken wings, and one thing I was really hoping for is that I could do crispy wings on this smoker. And I started out at 400 degrees with these wings and was just going to ride it through, kind of similar like if you're maybe trying to mimic doing wings on like a Weber kettle, because that's my favorite thing to do wings on. And they did pretty good. I actually backed off the temperature down to 350 during the cook because they're kind of crisping up almost too quick and maybe approaching burnt. So I backed it off, and it did really well. I might even try a lower temperature around 325 and just have them smoke longer next time. So once I perfect that method, I'll be doing a video on that as well. But for the first 2 cooks, it went really well. I think my main concern overall is just will it have like the smoke flavor of something compared to a big green egg, which is kind of like my favorite go-to smoker for really long cooks. So we'll have to keep playing with that. But really so far just impressed with the quality of it, and I can't complain about anything as far as temperature control and things of that nature. It's really been good. Some things maybe that they can improve. Let's think about that. Okay, so one thing they definitely need to work on, in my opinion, is the setup for the Wi-Fi. If you're in a modern home, you probably have a router that runs at 2.4 gigahertz and 5.0 gigahertz. and some of them don't have a distinction between what you're connecting to. So you might have trouble setting up your app connection to the grill initially. I'm going to put a link below with a resource that kind of tells you how to force a 2.4 gigahertz connection if you need to. And for me, I just set up a guest network, and then there's a little workaround you have to do that involves a hotspot on your phone and the grill, setting up for the first time. And after that, it's been fine. But it's still a pain in the ass the first time if you have a router that's running under both frequencies. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. And then see, what else could they improve so far that I've noticed? The one other thing I'd like them to include at some point in their grills would be some sort of hanger for your connection point if you're not plugging directly into like an outdoor outlet on a wall post or something like that. So I just have a couple zip ties, and then I can just pull those in and out as needed. But that way it keeps it out of the rain when it does rain. So that's like my only other thing I think I've seen so far that I would change about the grill dramatically. Whoops, okay, I lied. So there's only one other thing I think I would add at this time to my wish list and kind of complaint list, is that I think they should have some sort of integrated bracket to the grill if you want to add a second shelf. If not, include the second shelf. They have a accessory, which is a shelf that kind of sits on the existing grill grate or grill system, but it's not real sleek. I think for a grill of this magnitude, you should have at least an integrated bracket in there to add a second shelf. All right, guys, so that's my initial impressions of the Rec Tec 700. If you want to check out future cooks on this, I'll be doing brisket, ribs, pulled pork, beef ribs, all the big boys to make sure this thing competes and stands up for the price tag that it has. So subscribe, and I'll be making a playlist with all these things on it and give you everything you need to know about this Rec Tec 700. So far, it's been great. I hope it continues to be great, but we'll see. And let me know if there's anything you want to see in these future videos. If you have questions, I'll try to answer them in the comments or a future video. Until then, we'll see you next time. Seared and smoked, where food always tastes better outdoors.